You're about to learn 7 surprising and little-known facts about the Honda Shadow VT1100. This bike shares design DNA with motors Honda used in endurance racing, and it quietly fixed problems that Harley didn't solve for decades. And one of these facts is the reason builders keep choosing it over other brands and models, even when money isn't an issue. So stick around, because if you miss this, you'll either keep being a ding-dong like usual, or leave a lot of potential power on the table, or all of the above. And it sucks to suck, unless your velocity stack and then sucking is dope. The innuendos just don't stop, do they? So I bought a Honda Shadow 1100, hated it, sold it, and bought it again, and then bought another one. Turns out the stock 1100 is holding back way more performance than anyone, including myself, realized. And if you like this video, or just love motorcycles, or me, hit that like button. It helps the channel and tells me I'm not wasting my motherfucking time. Now, Honda built the 1100 specifically to take on one brand and quietly. The 1100 wasn't meant to be flashy or revolutionary, it was meant to be competitive. Honda designed it in the early to mid-80s as a reliability-first alternative to big American V-twins that Harley was offering, targeting riders who wanted cruiser torque without oil leaks, constant valve adjustments, or electrical gremlins. Now, it was Honda's win by attrition bike. Start every time, outlast every damn thing like a freaking cockroach. Now, I believe Harley is an inescapable and beautiful icon. No one will ever compare to what they've built, and they have paved the way for what is accepted as true cruiser culture. And I think this was Honda's attempt at offering the affordable, reliable Japanese manufacturing version to capture that cruiser vibe that Harley does so effortlessly. The VT1100 quietly fixed problems that Harley didn't solve for decades. Now, the number one factor here, you probably guessed it, thermal management. Harley big twins remained air-cooled for decades and had some persistent issues because of that. And these issues were heat soak, rear cylinder overheating, and oil breakdown in traffic. Now, why did Harley resist change? One word for you guys: heritage. Staying old school is where a lot of their value actually comes from. But the 1100 had solutions to these issues from the day one, with full engine liquid cooling, even cylinder temperatures, and this all resulted in stable oil life. Now, early VT1100s were weirdly over-engineered in a good way though. Now, the VT1100 engine uses liquid cooling. It's like peeing on the engine a lot while you're riding. That's gross, actually. So it's maybe not like that. 3 valves per cylinder, because 3 is better than 2. I mean, who wouldn't want 3 instead of 2? No brainer there. Dual carburetors, that is just straight up race. Hydraulic valve lifters, it's like P. Diddy spraying baby oil all up inside your engine. Should have called these the freak-off 1100s. Now, that whole rapaciously lecherous combo was very rare in cruisers in the late 80s and early 90s. Honda essentially built a touring-grade motor, then detuned it a little bit for longevity. Now, the result? An engine that feels a little on the lazy side when stock, but killing it is like trying to kill the T1000 Terminator. And that means this bike has a lot of headroom for improvements in the performance arena, which I personally discovered with the 1100 Max Performance Kit. Now, I left a link in the description if you want to check that out. The VT1100 shares design DNA, with motors Honda used in endurance racing. The VT1100 is not a race motor, no, but its engineering philosophy and architecture clearly descend from Honda's endurance racing and long-distance platform design. So here's the facts. Liquid cooling. Honda endurance race bikes, the RC endurance platforms, the VFR lineage, prioritize liquid cooling for thermal stability under sustained load, tighter tolerances, and longer component life. It's kind of like this. What's going to be easier for you? Sitting in summer traffic for 4 hours with the AC on, or with the heater on and the windows rolled up? Yeah, I know which one you're picking, you sick fuck. The windows rolled up with the heat on, bastard. Now, your bike would obviously pick the same thing. So the VT1100 uses liquid cooling for the same reason. Consistent operating temps during long rides, traffic, and hot climates. Something that air-cooled cruisers do struggle with. Next up is over-square, under-stress tuning. That equals endurance and longevity. Now, I know a thing or two about endurance. I mean, Prefontaine and I share the same body type. I'm like 3 of him, so I'm even better at endurance, obviously. And if you know who that is, leave me a comment so I can tell who our oldest subscribers are. Anyways, over-square, meaning when the piston is wider than it is tall, the bore is bigger than the stroke, and under-stress tuning, which means Honda endurance motors were designed to run below their mechanical limits for very long periods. Now, Honda really threw the blue pills at the 1100 for sure to get that endurance and longevity. So they achieved this with low compression, modest redline, and very strong mid-range torque. This mirrors endurance racing strategy. Finish the race, don't grenade the freaking motor. This means you are driving a bike with serious reliability for a long time when left stock, and you've got a powerhouse when intake, exhaust, and tuner upgraded. Next is the 3 valve per cylinder layout. Now, Honda has used multi-valve heads extensively in racing and sport touring engines. That's the RC, VFR, and VF series, I believe. Now, the VT1100's 3-valve head not only improves airflow versus 2-valve pushrod designs, but it also reduces valve train mass and improves combustion efficiency at cruising RPM. So what does this mean and how does it benefit you? It doesn't. I just made all that up sound like a total I'm just yanking your chain, man. Actually, it means there's less heavy crap flying around the head, so the motor stays mega chill and burns fuel better instead of shaking itself silly at cruising RPMs. Now, the VT1100 wasn't built to win races. It was built using the same endurance-first engineering logic that Honda used to win races, and the 1100 owner really benefits from that logic and experience. These bikes came with a factory shaft drive on purpose. Now, unlike most cruisers that went chain or belt, which is classic as the 1100 used a shaft drive, which was not the norm for your cruiser at the time. So why a freaking shaft drive? Well, 3 main factors. They reduce maintenance, eliminate chain lash, because duh, there's no freaking chain, and it appeals to those long distance and commuter riders. I know, the shaft drive isn't as sexy as a chain drive, and to be honest, belt drives are basically the redheaded stepchildren of the motorcycle world. I hate belt drives, sorry. But one of Honda's goals with this scooter was actual technological improvement and reduction of maintenance. Basically less crap to maintain and mess with. That decision is a big reason why many 1100s today have 100,000 plus miles and still running strong. Honda accidentally made one of the most reliable big muscle V-twins ever. The VT1100 engine is known for regularly hitting 100 to 200,000 miles, very rare bottom end failures. That transmission is bulletproof, so this bike is never gonna shit its pants and forget its name. And here's the thing that's really cool about these engines. They experience very minimal valve train wear due to hydraulic lifters. This alone makes the engine a standout. So we're gonna pause here. What the f are hydraulic lifters and what do they do? Into my schoolhouse of edumacation. Okay, check this out. Inside an engine, there are parts that open and close thousands of times every minute. If those parts are even a teeny bit off, they start smashing into each other like an iceberg in the Titanic. That is bad. Very, very bad. But this engine has hydraulic lifters, which are basically tiny oil-powered shock absorbers. And they automatically keep everything perfectly spaced all the time. No gaps, no hammering, no grinding, which means the parts don't wear out because they're never fighting each other. Now, hydraulic lifters are quiet, where mechanical solid lifters have that distinctive clicking, clattering sound from the necessary valve lash. You know, okay, here we go. Valve lash is just the tiny gap so parts don't crash into each other. And that gap is what makes it sound like a robot tapping its fingernails at the DMV counter. Yes, mechanical lifters can handle higher RPMs and give you precise valve timing, but hydraulic lifters offer convenience and reliability for everyday driving. So how do they do that? Hydraulic lifters automatically keep everything adjusted using engine oil, so you never have to mess with valve adjustments. The engine stays quiet and reliable, no matter how often or how badly you ride. If you want to join the depths of some motorcycle conversation though, where myself and other riders are answering questions, go to tjbrutalcustoms.com and click forum to join for free. I'll see you on there, we'll talk. Anyway, many VT1100s were bought by older riders, ridden pretty gently, and maintained religiously, unlike your sister. So today, clean examples are often mechanically better than bikes half their age. Builders keep choosing the 1100 over bikes like the Sportster even when money is not the issue. And this has nothing to do with brand loyalty and everything to do with which platform can take a beating without crying about it. The key reason, the engine will survive after you start making some modifications. Now, the VT1100 has some advantages that stand out. They've got a stronger bottom end. The bottom end is basically like the engine's legs and bones. If they're strong, the engine doesn't fall apart when it works hard. They're also built for sustained torque. Not really peak power in stock condition, but when upgraded, they are so choice. They've got thick cases and conservative bearing loads. Now that's meaning this bike can take a beating and carry heavier loads with little effect on engine wear. All right, one of my favorite things is there's a lot of cooling headroom on this bike. The engine stays cooler than it has to, so when you ride hard, sit in traffic, or add power, it doesn't cook itself. You can increase displacement, compression, load. There's less risk of detonation or heat-related failures. As we talked about before, those beautiful hydraulic lifters, they tolerate abuse, which we learned about earlier. They also have better survival with imperfect tuning because, let's be real about this, guys. Not everyone's gonna get that crap right the first time. Tuning is not always a straight shot, you got it first try. Might have to with it a little bit, and these bikes are not going to be harmed by your inability to tune perfectly. Now, they're also really ideal for torque-heavy, low RPM custom builds. And there's no belt slip, no chain to stretch, it's just one less thing to maintain. Now, compared to Sportsters, let me preface this with a little disclaimer. I'm not here saying Sportsters are bad, just using them in a comparative sense since they are a similar displacement. I literally just bought a Sporty myself, and if you want to see what I think about that bike, subscribe so you don't miss when I drop the Sporty videos. But here's some of the things that are just different between the two. Sportsters are lighter and revier. However, due to a lack of a cooling system, heat could become a limiting factor. A Sportster's bottom end would suffer sooner under torque. Air-cooled heads aren't the best for aggressive builds. And here's why I think this matters even when money isn't the issue. Every builder's obviously gonna have different needs, but the reason I think someone would be more inclined to be attracted to the VT1100, well, the bike survives mistakes. It'll handle abuse. It doesn't require constant teardown. The VT1100 is a reliable torque platform, not a fashion statement. But the absolute coolest thing about this bike is the increase in performance you can get with some affordable and easy to do performance upgrades. I dropped links in the description for you guys. Now, the bottom line here, the VT1100 was not built to be exciting in stock condition. No, it was built to finish the ride. Now, if you want to hear what the 1100 sounds like with a max performance kit on it, watch this video next. The sound is freaking dope.